Alex with Cubsweather with another severe weather update for Saturday, March 28th. It is 1:44 in the afternoon on Saturday, and we are looking at a potentially significant severe weather outbreak here. There have been some complicating factors this morning, but things are still falling into place to cause some concern and definitely command some attention for you today. This Saturday, we can see this large area of jet stream energy moving into Missouri and Illinois. Now, the center of our low pressure system, as you can see on visible satellite, is now over Nebraska, and this tightening, deepening system is pulling a lot of moisture further and further north, despite some rain and storms in this area over Illinois this morning. The atmosphere does seem like it will be able to recover at least in spots, and a high-end tornado threat seems to remain. Here was the first wave of convection that kind of mucked up the main risk area this morning a little bit and added to the uncertainty of this forecast. But our upper level jet dynamics are still in place, and as we get some sunshine peeking out through in this clearer area here, and the warm front begins to move northward, some of these warmer and more humid temperatures are going to be advecting north into the moderate risk area here in central Illinois, and we are starting to see some thunderstorm development ahead of this Pacific cold front and ahead of a dryline-like feature. So we are actively watching this area at the moment as this cold front moves into central Missouri and crosses the Mississippi River this evening around 7, and we'll look for storms out in front of that. Storms a little bit closer to the warm front might have a little more access to low-level turning in the wind fields and could be potentially strong tornadic thunderstorms. We do have a moderate risk still in effect. It has expanded a little bit back to the west to include some of these far eastern Iowa counties, and the enhanced area that surrounds that in orange, which is a level 3 out of the 5-tier risk threat. This enhanced area has been expanded back into Iowa and also eastward into Indiana, where we should be watching out for kind of a sneaky tornado threat along I-70 here. But it does seem like this area right here is going to be the heart of the higher end outcomes here. And yeah, we're keeping an eye on that really closely. There's still a strong tornado threat for much of the enhanced area, all the way back from about Ames, Iowa to Iowa City to Peoria remains the bullseye here, and then approaching the Indianapolis area and northwest Indiana as well. This area here south of the main threat is also a legitimate area of concern, and they've not quite had the rain and storms that we've had further north, so there may be a little bit more heat energy here, so we'll keep an eye on this area to the south as well. A large area of the Midwest with potential problems here. If you're anywhere in this 5% tornado risk in brown, I would be taking storms seriously today, just with the jet dynamics and energy in place. This was just issued before I started recording this video, this mesoscale discussion. It's basically a technical discussion issued by the Storm Prediction Center, mainly for emergency management and National Weather Service decision making. But it does mention here increasing discrete supercell development through late afternoon, including the potential for a couple of strong tornadoes by 4 to 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So this area here where the sun is shining through in northern Missouri, this is where the heat energy is building in, and ahead of this dry line-like feature, ahead of a cold front, we're going to be seeing storms initiate here, and we'll need to watch out for fast-moving, long-track supercells. In this discussion this morning, they mentioned that storms could be on the ground for miles and miles. because of the rapid motion of these cells. So anybody in this outlook area needs to be watching the radar to the southwest and keeping an eye and know that, hey, if the storm looks like it's a few counties away, it's going to be on your doorstep as quick as it's moving down the highway. We're talking about 60, 65 mile an hour storm motions in some cases. We did lose some heat energy this morning, some CAPE, which is an index that measures heat, humidity, and lapse rate. But you can see that in this model, the CAPE, which is outlined in red, does build northward with time, and some of these areas with rain this morning are able to recover some of this heat energy by 6, 7 p.m. So we'll need to watch out for that. It's possible the warm front doesn't quite get so far north because there's maybe a little extra cold air here from the rain. These subtle mesoscale complications can be really difficult to forecast. But in this case, we're going to have to just assume that the model is right here because if it is, this is potentially a dangerous recovery of instability in the atmosphere here. And we're keeping a close eye on the low-level jet, which can really increase tornado potential and the ability for storms to organize rotation. And this low-level jet streak moves into Illinois right around the 4 and 5 p.m. hour. It's going to be really cranking a little closer to sunset, 6 and 7 p.m. And this area where the low-level jet is really cranking could really show storms that are able to take advantage of this and organize. And you'll see there's a little bit of moderate low-level jet out here into central Indiana too. Again, anywhere in this 5% tornado risk area, any thunderstorm that you've got coming your way, you should take it seriously, particularly if you've got a little bit of low-level jet energy that helps organize rotation in that thunderstorm updraft. So let's keep an eye out anywhere in here, Indianapolis, and then obviously the heart of the risk area here in central Illinois. And this is just a model run from this morning showing precipitation breaking out here at the 4 p.m. hour, which is actually, funnily enough, exactly what Storm Prediction Center is saying here in this discussion. But this model runs from this morning, and it's just a guideline of kind of timing and the way things might play out. It's not an exact forecast, and it's not something storm chasers will be looking at too closely at the moment. They're going to be more focused on the real-world occurrences here on the visible satellite and the radar picture. So all that being said, we still have a dynamic atmosphere here in place over the Midwest, and we'll have to keep an eye on radar trends and watches and warnings as these storms start erupting here in central Missouri and move northeastward into our risk area in Illinois. Keep an eye out on those National Weather Service Twitter pages. There's NWS Chicago, NWS Quad Cities, NWS St. Louis, NWS Central Illinois, National Weather Service Indianapolis, and the National Weather Service Northern Indiana. They will all be covering storms in this event, and into Ohio as well, Columbus, Wilmington. National Weather Service Wilmington, Ohio would be a good follow if you're here in central or southwestern Ohio. But yeah, keep an eye on this today. And keep an eye out for watches and warnings. There is going to be a tornado watch here shortly. This mesoscale discussion says a tornado watch is likely. And that could be a particularly dangerous situation. PDS tornado watch, possibly. So anyway, stay safe. Things are starting to pop now. And again, we do have a little uncertainty here about how much the atmosphere can recover in central and northern Illinois in particular. I know I've got a lot of friends up here in the Chicago area who are kind of wondering what's going on. The risk seems to have dropped a little bit, but I would not take my foot off the gas if I were up here in northeast Illinois. things can change pretty rapidly with a dynamic system like this. So keep an eye out. If your temperatures warm up really quickly, you're on the other side of the warm front, and definitely time to keep an eye out then. Stay safe, everybody, and hope you're having an okay day otherwise and feeling well. Thanks.